All right, Profusion. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But let's talk about this new palette from Profusion called their Meadow Palette. Now, when I seen this in stores, there is a palette that came to my mind, like off the top of my head. No doubt that this is, it's not a direct copy, it's not a dupe. I almost guarantee that this was inspired from the At Foresight palette by RawBeautyKristixColourpop. Okay, so let's just take a look. So here again is the Meadow palette. Here is the ColourPop palette. Again, I'm not saying these are dupes. It's not an exact dupe or replica or anything. But you can't tell me that this was not inspired from this palette. Now, what I have here I'm going to insert is actually where I swatched some of these shades side by side. And now, as you can see, they're not exact shades. They are not like perfect or on point. But there are so many very closely related similarities that I just can't get over the fact of how close these two palettes are. I mean, they even have some of these names like Evergreen. Let's see, what other? Okay, so Evergreen. I mean, just listen to the names. Stream, Epiphany, Roots, Habitat, Evergreen, Willow, Woodland, Forbidden, Canopy, Foliage. And then if you go over to RawBeautyKristix's palette, Puffball, Chanterelle, Rainier, Old Growth, Evergreen, West Coast, Homegrown, Amanita, Let It Rain, PNW, Emerald City, Fiddlehead. Like, it's just way too closely related. Now, I find this funny because at the time you're seeing it, it probably will have been released for at least a month by now. But RawBeautyKristi just posted a video where, I think it was Hot Topic or Spencer's, one of those stores, actually did do like a dupe replica of this with fewer shades. The shades were clearly trying to be a dupe, but again, go watch that video of hers. You can see the comparison of that. And I just think that it's funny now, having seen that video and having found this palette at Walmart, that everybody's trying to get their kind of own version of this palette, and I think they're trying to get it out in time for fall. So unfortunately, ColourPop does not have this palette in stock anymore, and I don't think that they are going to be restocking it, and honestly, that is a shame. They should absolutely come back with this at least one time for fall, because this is like the perfect fall palette. But what we're going to do today is try to create a look with this palette from Profusion, because if it works out and can give us a nice look, this is only $5. You can get it from Walmart, and like I said, unfortunately, this eyeshadow palette you're not able to purchase at this time. So if you're curious as to what's on my face, I'm kind of like throwing all my eggs in one basket here today and trying to check mark a couple videos off. So I am wear testing the Neutrogena Matte CC Cream. So that's going to be one video you can go and check out after this. And then I also just tried some TikTok makeup packs. It was interesting. I actually found a couple good ones. Mostly fails. Who's shocked by that? But I actually did find a couple of good hacks. So make sure you go check out those two videos after this. Alright, so today's an exciting day because we are opening up a new Milani eyeshadow primer. Dun, 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 dun. Do I want to go with the greens and reds? Or do I want to go with the greens and blues? We know green's going to be in there. There's no shocker there. Alright, so I think I'm going to start with Canopy and just kind of use that to set my overall eyelid and to put that into the crease as well. So Canopy is this shade right here. I'm just going to pat that all over my eyelid and then go ahead and take that up into the crease as well. And having watched the swatches, you will see that Canopy is kind of their answer to the shade Puffball. Okay. So now I think I want to take the shade Evergreen and place that on the outer half of my eyelid. And I think Evergreen is somewhere in between Fiddlehead and Emerald City because it's not fully matte. It does have some shimmer and the shade isn't quite dead on. So it's kind of like somewhere in between these two shades from the RawBeautyKristi palette. So I'm going to go ahead and pack on Evergreen. I am getting quite a bit of fallout from this shade Evergreen in the Meadow palette. Alright, now I'm going to take a little bit of concealer and do a cut crease. Just using some of my Neutrogena Radiant Cream Concealer. Okay, So I'm really trying not to apply too much concealer because my eyes will definitely try to start kind of breaking apart, especially on the inner corner. Now I'm going to take a smaller flat shader brush, and I'm going to dip into the shade Roots, which is very clearly their kind of option for Evergreen. So here is Roots. This is coming from the Profusion palette, and this is Evergreen coming from the Raw Beauty Kristi palette. So you can see that Evergreen is much more green. This one almost has a more browny green shift to it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my flat shader brush and just pack that shade onto where we just placed the concealer. Wow, I am getting a lot of fallout. I'm going to wet my brush. See if that'll get it to... Okay, when I wet the brush to try to get some of that eyeshadow to stick on, it almost turned more brown than green. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with some of that shade Canopy and just blend out those two shades. Ooh, uh-oh. Let me try to get rid of some of this fallout first. I'm kind of having a hard time blending it out. I don't know if that's because I just have like so much stuff on my eyelid from the other video I just shot or what. Let me just take a brush with no product and see if we can't blend this out. Alright, let's get some mascara, and then we're going to do the bottom lash line. For mascara, I'm going in with the Milani Highly Rated Mascara. This mascara isn't bad. It definitely could have benefited from me curling my lashes, but oh well. Alright, what do I want to do? I mean, these shadows are good, and they are pigmented. I'm not saying anything in the terms of this eyeshadow palette is bad. It's not. Profusion has a really good formula. I mean, heck, this is my like third palette from them. I also have emeralds, I have the mauves, and I really kind of like the Euphoria one that I seen as well from them. I think I'm going to start with Willow in the outer corner. And I think this is kind of supposed to be like their Amanita, kind of that maroony brownish color. This is Amanita. This is Willow from Profusion. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to take Willow. I'm going to kind of connect it right here. Then I think I'm going to take some of the shade Forbidden, which I think is supposed to be like their Rainier. So here is Forbidden and here is Rainier. So Rainier definitely is more orangey red, where Forbidden is more of a blue-based kind of darker red. So I'm going to take a little bit of Forbidden, that next to Willow, and then I'm going to take some of the shade Woodland. Now Woodland I don't feel like really has a counterpart in the Raw Beauty Kristi palette. I think I'm going to take some of the shade Habitat and put it in the inner corner again. I think this is supposed to be somewhere in this mix of Fiddlehead and Emerald City is where Habitat kind of falls. And we're going to put some of this matte shade Habitat right here in the inner corner. And there we have it. So this looks kind of crazy. I really just kind of wanted to run the gauntlet on the shades and just kind of use as many as I could. Now, they have this shade Stream and Epiphany. And again, I think this is supposed to be somewhere in between P and W. And then this is Epiphany and Stream. That is just my thoughts on this little random palette. I've got makeup in my eye and it is bugging the crap out of me. I definitely prefer the Raw Beauty Kristi palette over this. Her colors are just much more vibrant. I don't know. They're just more the right tone that I want. But this is really actually a nice palette. For $5, you can get it at Walmart. Really pretty colors. Even this shade Foliage is really pretty. It would be, let me see. That shade Foliage on top of Forbidden is super pretty. So yeah, this is a really nice palette. I just thought it was funny that all of a sudden two different brands were kind of coming out with their Raw Beauty Kristi versions of the At Foresight palette. Now, the only thing I will say is there was a lot of fallout with these colors, and like my under eyes just, they're not looking their best, to be quite honest. So I would suggest you doing your eyeshadow before putting on your face makeup. So that is just my little hot take on the Meadow palette from Profusion. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you will like and subscribe. Be sure to check out the other videos I mentioned, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.